Hey warriors, your alarm goes off. Another day. Same weight on your shoulders. Same thoughts spinning in your head. Same problems waiting for you like old friends who never leave. And somewhere deep inside, beneath all the noise and distraction, you feel it. That quiet desperation. That knowing that something has to change, but you don't know what or how. Here's what nobody tells you. You've been lied to about your problems. You've been taught that problems are things to solve. Get the right job, find the right person, make enough money, fix this one thing, and then you'll finally be okay. So you spend years chasing solutions. You work harder. You try different strategies. You read books, watch videos, seek advice. And somehow the problems just multiply. New faces, same underlying pain. What if I told you that most of your problems aren't actually problems? They're symptoms. Symptoms of a deeper misunderstanding about how life works, about what you can control, about what actually matters. You're trying to fix the branches when the root is what needs attention. 3 nights ago, I watched someone break down crying over a situation they couldn't change. They kept asking, "Why is this happening to me?" over and over. And I realized something. That question is the problem, not the situation. The question. Because that question assumes life is supposed to be fair, that you're supposed to be exempt from hardship, that struggle means something's wrong with you. But what if struggle means you're alive? What if pain is just information, not punishment? What if the chaos you're experiencing isn't a sign that you're failing, but a sign that you're finally ready to see things differently? There's ancient wisdom that's been buried under modern self-help noise, not the kind that tells you to manifest your dreams or think positive thoughts. The kind that looks at suffering directly and says, "Yes, this is hard. Now what are you going to do about it?" The kind that doesn't promise easy answers, because easy answers don't create lasting change. This wisdom comes from people who face the absolute worst. People in chains who found freedom. People in power who discovered emptiness. People who lost everything and realized they hadn't lost what mattered. They didn't write philosophy books for scholars. They wrote survival guides for people drowning in their own minds. And what they discovered can end most of your problems, not by changing your circumstances, but by changing you. Because here's the secret they all found. You are the problem, and you are the solution. Every struggle you're facing right now exists in the space between what's happening and how you're interpreting what's happening. Today, I'm giving you 10 brutal truths, not theories, not concepts, not ideas to consider when you feel like it. These are tools that work immediately if you're brave enough to use them. They're going to make you uncomfortable because real growth always does. They're going to challenge beliefs you've held your entire life. They're going to ask you to see yourself honestly, and that's the hardest thing anyone can do. But if you're exhausted from carrying weight that isn't yours, if you're tired of the same patterns destroying your peace, if you're ready to stop being a victim of your own mind, then stay with me. Every word here matters. Every lesson connects to the next. Before we start, hit that like button, drop a comment, share this with someone, subscribe because you're choosing truth over temporary comfort. And whatever you do, don't skip ahead. These lessons are designed to break you open so something stronger can emerge. Your problems aren't going anywhere, but after today, you won't be the same person facing them. And that changes everything. If this hit different, type in the comments, "I choose understanding over suffering." Number 1. Your pain isn't punishment, it's information. You've been taught to run from pain your entire life. Avoid it, medicate it, distract yourself from it. And because of that, you miss the most valuable message life can send you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. He wasn't being poetic. He was revealing a truth most people die without learning. Your pain is trying to save you, not destroy you. Every ache in your body is communication. That anxiety you feel, it's not your enemy. It's your nervous system screaming that something in your life isn't aligned with your truth. That heartbreak, it's not wasted suffering. It's showing you exactly where you gave away your power. That failure, it's not proof you're inadequate. It's data showing you which path doesn't work so you can find one that does. But here's what happens instead. You feel pain and you immediately label it as bad, wrong, something to fix. You start fighting against yourself, creating a war inside that drains every ounce of your energy. You take pills for symptoms without asking what caused them. You blame people for how they made you feel without asking why you were vulnerable in that way. You see obstacles as proof the universe is against you when they're actually proof you're finally heading in a direction that matters. The Stoics practiced something radical. They studied their suffering like scientists, not to wallow in it, but to understand it. When Epictetus lost his freedom, he didn't curse fate. He asked, "What can slavery not touch?" And he discovered that his mind, his character, his inner peace were completely untouchable. His pain became his greatest teacher. Right now, there's something hurting you. Maybe it's been hurting for so long you've learned to numb it. Maybe you've built your entire life around avoiding situations that might trigger it. But that pain contains a message you desperately need to hear. What if you stopped running? What if, just for a moment, you sat with that discomfort and asked it what it's trying to tell you? Not in a therapeutic self-help way, but in a real, honest way. What am I doing that goes against my nature? What truth am I avoiding? What part of my life am I settling for out of fear? Your pain is not random. It's not punishment from a cruel universe. It's the language your deepest self uses when words aren't enough. It's the alarm system that goes off when you're living someone else's life instead of your own. Stop treating pain as the enemy. Start treating it as the brutal, honest friend who loves you enough to tell you what everyone else is too polite to say. Because once you learn to listen to your pain instead of silencing it, it transforms from your greatest weakness into your most powerful guide. Comment below if you're ready. I master myself, not the world. Number 2. The people you're trying to please don't think about you as much as you think. You're exhausted, aren't you? Exhausted from performing, from carefully choosing your words so nobody gets upset, from editing your truth so it's palatable, from shrinking yourself so others feel comfortable. And the cruelest part? They barely notice. Epictetus observed something devastating and liberating. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. But he also understood that most people are so consumed by their own inner dialogue, they're barely listening at all. They're not analyzing your every move. They're worried about their own performance. You replay that conversation from 3 days ago, cringing at what you said. They forgot it 3 minutes later. You agonize over your appearance, certain everyone is judging you. They're too busy worrying about their own appearance. You post something online and panic about the response. Most people scrolled past without a second thought. This isn't meant to make you feel insignificant. It's meant to set you free. Because right now, you're living in a prison built from imaginary audiences. You've created an entire panel of judges in your mind who don't actually exist. The real people in your life are far more forgiving, far more distracted, and far less concerned with your flaws than the versions you've created in your head. Seneca wrote letters to a friend named Lucilius, and in one he confessed, "No person is as unhappy as one who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." He understood that trying to maintain a perfect image for others doesn't protect you. It prevents you from becoming who you're meant to be. Think about the last time you held back your truth because you were afraid of judgment. What did that cost you? A genuine connection, an opportunity, a piece of your self-respect? And here's the question that changes everything. Did that person even notice your sacrifice? Did they appreciate how you twisted yourself into knots for their comfort? The brutal truth is this: people are the protagonists of their own stories, not supporting characters in yours. They're dealing with their own pain, their own fears, their own desperate attempts to feel okay. They don't have the time or energy to obsess over you the way you obsess over their potential opinions. So, what if you stopped? What if you spoke your truth and let the chips fall? What if you dressed for yourself, acted according to your values, and released the exhausting burden of managing everyone's perception of you? Some people won't like it. Let them not like it. Their discomfort with your authenticity says nothing about you and everything about their own limitations. The people worth keeping will respect you more for being real than for being agreeable. You are burning yourself out for an audience that doesn't exist. Meanwhile, your authentic self, the one with real thoughts and real needs and real boundaries, is suffocating behind the performance. And for what? For the illusion of acceptance that never truly satisfies, because it's not really you they're accepting. Stop performing. Start living. The relief you'll feel is worth more than any approval you've been chasing. Let me see in the comments, I live for my truth, not their approval. Number 3. Comfort is slowly killing your potential. Your life has become too soft, and it's strangling you. Not physically, not obviously, but in ways you feel every time you avoid something difficult, choose the easy path, or settle for good enough when you know you're capable of extraordinary. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have to assemble your life yourself, action by action." He understood something modern society has forgotten. Comfort doesn't build character. Struggle does. Look around your life right now. How many small comforts have you built that are actually cages? The job that pays well but crushes your soul. The relationship that's familiar but unfulfilling. The routine that requires nothing from you. You tell yourself you're being practical, responsible, smart, but deep down, you know you're hiding. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort not to punish themselves, but to prepare themselves. Seneca would regularly live as if he'd lost everything, eating simple food and wearing plain clothes. Why? So that poverty would never have power over him, so that he'd know, in his bones, that he could survive anything. When was the last time you did something that genuinely scared you? Not reckless danger, but meaningful challenge. When did you last push past the point where your mind screams stop into the territory where growth happens? If you can't remember, that's your answer. You've traded your potential for comfort, and comfort is a terrible master. Here's what nobody tells you. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you're making a withdrawal from your future self. You're borrowing ease now and paying with regret later. That compound interest of avoided challenges eventually comes due, and the bill is devastating. It shows up as the person you could have been, haunting the person you settled for becoming. The irony is that comfort doesn't even deliver what it promises. You think if you just avoid enough difficulty, you'll feel safe and happy. But look at your life. Has avoiding hard conversations made your relationships better? Has staying in the safe job made you more fulfilled? Has protecting yourself from failure made you more confident? The answer is no, because confidence doesn't come from avoiding challenges. It comes from facing them and discovering you're stronger than you thought. Peace doesn't come from having no problems. It comes from knowing you can handle any problem that arrives. Right now, You're capable of so much more than you're demanding of yourself. There's a version of you that's hungry, driven, willing to endure temporary discomfort for permanent growth. But you've been feeding the version that wants to scroll, snack, sleep, and avoid anything that feels hard. What if you started choosing the harder path? Not in everything, not perfectly, but consistently. The harder workout, the difficult conversation, the project that scares you, the discipline that builds slowly. Your potential is suffocating under layers of comfort. It's time to let it breathe, even if the air is cold at first. Because the only thing worse than struggling towards something meaningful is living comfortably with the regret of never trying. Type this if you felt that. I choose growth over comfort every time. Number 4, your thoughts are not facts, they're habits. You believe everything your mind tells you, and that's the source of almost all your suffering. Every anxious thought feels like a prediction. Every critical voice feels like truth. Every fear feels like protection. But here's what the Stoics discovered. Your mind is not a truth-telling machine. It's a pattern-repeating machine. Epictetus made a radical claim that still shakes people awake today. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. Read that again. Your boss didn't ruin your day. Your thought about what your boss said ruined your day. Your past didn't destroy your present. Your repeated thoughts about your past are destroying your present. Right now, you have thoughts that play on an endless loop. I'm not good enough. People always leave. I'll never figure this out. Something bad is going to happen. You've thought these thoughts so many times they feel like reality. They feel like who you are. But they're not. They're just grooves your mind has worn deep through repetition. Think about a record player. When you play the same song over and over, it wears a groove in the vinyl. Eventually, the needle falls into that groove automatically. Your mind works the same way. The thoughts you've practiced become the thoughts that play automatically, and most people never realize they have any choice in this. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "The universe is change. Life is opinion." He was emperor of Rome, yet he knew that his biggest battles weren't with barbarian armies. They were with his own habitual thinking. He had to consciously redirect his mind away from resentment, fear, and bitterness toward acceptance, courage, and wisdom. You've been practicing negative thinking for so long, it's become your default. Someone gives you a compliment, and your automatic thought is, they don't really mean it. You try something new, and your instant reaction is, I'm going to fail. You face a setback, and your mind immediately jumps to, this always happens to me. But here's the truth that will change everything if you let it sink in. Thoughts are optional, not the first thought. That one is automatic, programmed by your history. But the second thought, that's yours. The one where you either believe the first thought or question it. The one where you either follow the familiar groove or carve a new path. When your mind says, I can't do this, you can notice that it's just a thought, an old pattern, a habit, and habits can be changed. You don't have to argue with it or fight it, just recognize it. Ah, there's that thought again, the one I've been practicing for years. And then you can choose a different thought, not a fake positive one, a true one. I haven't done this yet, but I can learn. I've figured out hard things before. This isn't about positive thinking. This is about accurate thinking. It's about recognizing that most of your thoughts are reruns, not news reports. They're echoes from your past, not prophecies of your future. Your mind will keep offering you the same tired thoughts until you consciously start practicing new ones. The thought, I'm broken, has had thousands of repetitions. Maybe it's time to give I'm healing the same amount of practice. The thought, nothing ever works out, has worn a deep groove. Maybe it's time to create a new groove. Some things don't work, and I keep going anyway. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that can observe them, question them, and choose which ones to believe. That's the difference between being controlled by your mind and being the master of it. Drop your power statement. I observe my thoughts. I don't obey them. Number 5. You're not waiting for the right time. You're waiting to feel ready. There's something you know you need to do. You've known for weeks, months, maybe years, and you keep telling yourself you'll do it when the time is right, when you have more money, when you feel more confident, when circumstances align perfectly. But here's the brutal truth. You're lying to yourself. Seneca wrote with fury, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." He saw clearly what most people refuse to see. The right time is a myth we use to avoid the discomfort of action. You think you're being wise by waiting, strategic, patient. But look honestly at your life. How many opportunities have you watched pass by while you waited to feel ready? How many connections have you failed to make because you were preparing to be perfect? How many dreams have quietly died in the waiting room of someday? The Stoics understood something profound about human nature. We will never feel ready for things that matter. Never. Because feeling ready means feeling comfortable, and growth only happens outside comfort. If you wait until starting a business feels easy, you'll never start. If you wait until difficult conversations feel comfortable, you'll never have them. If you wait until you're certain you won't fail, you'll never try anything worth doing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do what nature demands. Get a move on if you have it in you, and don't worry whether anyone will give you credit for it." Right now, there's something you're avoiding under the disguise of not being ready yet. Maybe it's ending a relationship that's been dead for years. Maybe it's starting the project that terrifies you. Maybe it's having the conversation that could change everything. You've convinced yourself that more time will make it easier. It won't. More time will just give your fear more opportunities to talk you out of it. Here's what actually happens when you act before you're ready. You're terrified, you do it anyway, and then you discover something life-changing. You discover that you're more capable than you thought. That fear was lying about how bad it would be. That you can handle things even when you don't feel prepared. And that discovery builds something no amount of waiting can build. Genuine confidence. The people you admire didn't wait to feel ready. They felt exactly as scared and unprepared as you feel right now. The only difference is they moved anyway. They let their actions create momentum, and momentum created confidence, and confidence created results. You will never feel fully ready. Not for love, not for change, not for risk, not for anything that has the power to transform you. So, stop waiting for a feeling that's never coming. Start before you're ready. Fail before you're perfect. Learn by doing instead of preparing to do, because the only thing riskier than starting before you're ready is dying before you begin. Time doesn't wait for you to feel comfortable. It just passes, taking your opportunities with it. Declare it in the comments. I start now, ready or not. Number 6. Your ego is not your friend, it's your jailer. You think your ego protects you. That need to be right, to look good, to maintain your image. You think it keeps you safe from humiliation and rejection. But look closer. Your ego isn't protecting you, it's imprisoning you. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Most people never reach their potential because they'd rather look good than actually grow. Think about the last time you refused to admit you were wrong. How much energy did that take? Think about the last time you avoided asking for help because it felt like weakness. What did that cost you? Think about the last time you didn't try something because you might fail publicly. How many opportunities did your ego kill before they even had a chance? Your ego makes you defend positions you no longer believe in just because you believed them yesterday. It makes you reject good advice if it comes from the wrong person. It makes you choose familiar suffering over unfamiliar growth, because at least in your suffering, you know who you are. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved and the raging of the sea falls still around it." He wasn't talking about external attacks. He was talking about the ego's constant need for validation, recognition, and superiority. Here's what your ego is stealing from you right now: real learning. Because you can't learn when you already know everything, real connection. Because you can't be vulnerable when you're busy maintaining an image, real progress. Because you can't take the messy, embarrassing steps required for growth when you're worried about looking foolish. Your ego tells you stories. You're special, so normal rules don't apply to you. Or the opposite, you're worthless, so why even try? Both are lies, and both serve the same purpose: keeping you stuck. Because a stuck person is predictable. A stuck person doesn't have to face the terrifying uncertainty of change. The brutal truth: nobody is thinking about you as much as your ego fears they are. That embarrassing thing you said 5 years ago that still makes you cringe. Nobody else remembers it. That failure you're hiding. Most people are too worried about their own failures to judge yours. Your ego has created an imaginary audience that's far harsher than any real one. What if you let it go? Not all at once, not perfectly, but what if you started choosing truth over image? What if you admitted when you don't know something? What if you apologized without defending yourself? What if you tried things you might fail at? The Stoics called this practicing death of the ego, not literally dying, but dying to the need to be someone impressive, dying to the exhausting performance of maintaining a perfect image. And in that death, something extraordinary happens. You become free to actually live. You can be right, or you can be growing. You can protect your image, or you can become who you're meant to be, but you cannot do both. Your ego demands you choose safety. Your soul demands you choose truth, and only one of those choices leads to the life you actually want. Stop letting your ego veto opportunities because they're not guaranteed victories. Stop letting it keep you small, because being big means being visible. Stop letting it convince you that other people's opinions matter more than your own growth. Your ego is a terrible master, but a useful servant. Let it motivate you sometimes, but never let it make your decisions, because the person your ego is trying to protect doesn't even exist. It's a fictional character you've been exhausting yourself to play, and you deserve to stop performing and start living. Commit below by writing, "I choose growth over image." Number 7. Forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. You're carrying weight that's crushing you, and you think you're being strong. You're holding on to anger, replaying the betrayal, keeping the grudge alive. You tell yourself it's about justice, about not letting them off easy. But be honest, who is this really hurting? Seneca wrote something that cuts through centuries. To be angry is to punish yourself for the wrongs of another. Read that until it hurts. Every minute you spend hating someone who hurt you is a minute they're still controlling you. They've moved on, living their life, and you're still bleeding from a wound they've forgotten they caused. This isn't about them deserving forgiveness. This isn't about reconciliation or pretending it didn't happen. This is about you deciding that your peace matters more than their punishment, because right now you're the one in prison, they're free, and you're the one doing the sentence. The Stoics understood that holding resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It makes perfect sense to your hurt. Your anger feels righteous and justified. But justified anger is still poison. Right or wrong, it's destroying you from the inside while barely affecting them at all. Think about the person who hurt you most. Now think about how much space they take up in your mind. How many times a day do you replay what they did? How many conversations have you had with them in your head where you finally say the perfect thing? How many hours have you spent imagining scenarios where they finally understand how much they hurt you? All that time, all that energy, all that emotional space, gone, wasted, feeding a fire that only burns you. Meanwhile, they're probably not thinking about you at all. They might not even know they hurt you, or worse, they knew and didn't care. Either way, your suffering is changing nothing for them and everything for you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." He chose to let the betrayal make him wiser, not bitter, stronger, not harder. Forgiveness doesn't mean saying what they did was okay. It means deciding that what they did will no longer define your life. It means taking back the power you've been giving them every single day through your resentment. It means choosing your future over their past. Here's what happens when you truly forgive. You don't forget. You don't reconcile if it's not safe. You don't become naive. What you do is release the chain that's been connecting you to that painful moment. You stop giving them free rent in your head. You stop letting their worst moment define your every moment. The person who hurt you doesn't deserve your forgiveness. You do. You deserve to sleep without their face haunting your dreams. You deserve to be present in your life instead of trapped in their betrayal. You deserve to stop letting them steal your joy long after they've left. Forgiveness is not weakness. It's the ultimate act of self-preservation. It's you saying, "What you did was wrong, and I'm not going to let it wrong me anymore." It's choosing freedom over being right, peace over punishment. You cannot heal what you refuse to release, and you cannot release what you keep feeding with attention. Claim your freedom in the comments. I release what no longer serves my peace. Number 8. You don't need more time. You need more focus. You say you don't have time, but what you really mean is you don't have priorities. You'll spend 3 hours scrolling through your phone, but claim you can't find 30 minutes to work on your dream. You'll binge an entire series in a weekend, but say you're too busy to read a book that could change your life. The problem isn't time, it's what you're doing with it. Seneca saw this in ancient Rome, and it's worse now. It is not that we have so little time, but that we lose so much. The life we receive is not short, but we make it so. We are not ill-provided, but use it lavishly. He watched people waste their lives on meaningless distractions while claiming they had no time for what mattered. Sound familiar? You have the same 24 hours as everyone who's ever accomplished anything extraordinary. The same hours as the person who built the business, wrote the book, transformed their health, healed their relationships. The difference isn't time, it's focus. It's the brutal honesty to admit where your attention actually goes. Track your day honestly, not what you wish you did, but what you actually do. How many minutes disappear into social media? How many hours vanish into news that doesn't affect your life? How many moments are you only half present, mind wandering, attention scattered? You're not living one focused life. You're living 100 distracted half-lives. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Concentrate every minute like a Roman on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice." Every minute. Not when he felt like it. Not when inspiration struck. Every single minute mattered. But you're not even present for most of your minutes. You're eating while watching something. You're talking to someone while checking your phone. You're doing important work while 15 tabs pull your attention in different directions. You think you're multitasking. You're actually doing multiple things badly instead of one thing well. Here's the truth that hurts. You have time for everything you truly prioritize. If someone offered you $1 million to work on your goal for 1 hour every day, would you find the time? Of course you would. You'd wake up earlier. You'd cut something else. You'd make it happen. So the question isn't, do I have time? The question is this actually a priority, or just something I wish was a priority? Your attention is the most valuable resource you have. More valuable than money because you can make more money, but you cannot make more time. Every moment you give to distraction is a moment stolen from your actual life. Every notification you respond to is an interruption you allowed. Every tab you keep open is a choice to fragment your mind. What if you protected your focus like you protect your money? What if you were as careful with your attention as you are with your possessions? What if you treated your time as the non-renewable resource it actually is? The Stoics practiced what they called memento mori, remember death. Not to be morbid, but to wake up. You have a limited number of days, a limited number of hours, and right now you're spending them as if they're infinite, as if there will always be tomorrow to start, as if you have time to waste. You don't need more time. You need to stop pretending that scrolling is relaxing, that busy is the same as productive, that distraction is just a small habit. Every unfocused hour is an hour you'll never get back. Every scattered day is a day closer to looking back with regret. Focus is not about doing more, it's about doing less, better. One thing at a time with your full presence. One priority that actually matters instead of 10 priorities that keep you comfortable busy while accomplishing nothing. Your life is happening right now, not later, not when things calm down, right now. And every moment you give to what doesn't matter is a moment stolen from what does. Make this your oath below. I protect my focus like I protect my life. Number 9. Suffering is mandatory, but misery is optional. Pain will find you. Loss will visit you. Failure will knock on your door. You don't get to choose whether hard things happen, but you do get to choose what you make those hard things mean. And that choice is the difference between suffering that transforms you and misery that destroys you. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." He wasn't speaking as someone who'd lived an easy life. He was speaking as someone who'd faced the worst and discovered that the worst thing that can happen to you externally is nothing compared to what you can do to yourself internally. Right now, you're facing something difficult. Maybe it's heartbreak, maybe it's failure, maybe it's loss. And you have a choice you might not realize you're making. You can let this break you down, or you can let it break you open. You can become bitter, or you can become better. Same pain, different response, completely different life. The suffering comes from the situation. The misery comes from the story you tell about the situation. Someone loses their job. The suffering is real. Bills to pay, uncertainty, fear. But the misery, that's the story. I'm a failure. Nothing ever works out for me. I'll never recover. Same job loss. One person uses it as a catalyst to find something better. Another person uses it as proof they're worthless. Same event, different story, different outcome. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." This sounds impossible until you understand what he meant. You cannot choose whether bad things happen, but you can choose whether those bad things have permission to poison your entire existence. Think about someone who went through something similar to what you're facing but came out stronger. They had the same pain you have, but they didn't add misery to it. They didn't spend years asking, "Why me?" They didn't let one bad chapter become the whole story. They felt the pain fully, learned what it had to teach, and kept moving. You're allowed to hurt. You're allowed to grieve. You're allowed to feel the full weight of what you're carrying, but you're not required to drown in it. You're not required to let temporary pain become permanent identity. You're not required to turn suffering into a lifestyle. Here's what the Stoics knew that most people miss. Resistance multiplies pain. When you fight against what already is, when you spend energy wishing things were different, when you argue with reality, you take your suffering and turn it into misery. The pain was going to be there anyway. The misery is what you add. What if you stopped resisting, not stopped caring, but stopped fighting against what cannot be changed? What if you felt the pain without the story that makes it mean you're broken? What if you let yourself be sad without deciding you'll be sad forever? Suffering says, this hurts. Misery says, this hurt means I'm cursed, broken, unworthy, and it will never get better. One is truth, one is a story. And you're the author of which one you believe. The person you become on the other side of pain is entirely up to you. Some people emerge bitter, blaming, stuck. Others emerge wiser, stronger, more compassionate. Same pain, different choice. And that choice is being made right now in how you're relating to what you're going through. You cannot control the suffering, but you have total control over whether you turn it into misery or meaning. Write this as your truth. I feel pain without creating misery. Number 10. You are going to die, so stop living like you're not. This is the truth no one wants to hear, but it's the truth that changes everything. You are going to die, not someday in some abstract future. Actually die. And you have no idea when. It could be 50 years from now or 50 minutes from now, and you're living like you have forever. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. This wasn't depression. This was clarity. When you truly understand that your time is limited, suddenly most of your problems become irrelevant. That grudge you're holding, you might not have time to let it go later. That dream you're postponing, death isn't postponing for you. That person you love but never tell, one day it will be too late. The Stoics practiced death meditation not to be depressed, but to be awake, to stop sleepwalking through the precious, limited time they had. You waste days on arguments that won't matter next week. You sacrifice years in jobs that drain your soul for retirement you might not live to see. You delay joy, postpone love, and save your real life for later. But later isn't guaranteed. Later is a comfortable lie you tell yourself so you don't have to live fully right now. Seneca wrote with urgency, "Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. Not tomorrow, not when things settle down. Now." Think about someone you lost. Would they give anything for one more day, one more conversation, one more chance to say what mattered? You have that day right now. You have that conversation available. You have that chance, and you're scrolling through distractions like time is infinite. What would you do differently if you knew you had 1 year left, 6 months, 1 month? Why aren't you doing those things now? Because you're pretending death happens to other people. You're living in denial of the most certain fact of your existence. This isn't meant to scare you into paralysis. It's meant to wake you up into presence. When you truly grasp your mortality, you stop caring about impressing people who don't matter. You stop wasting energy on things that don't align with who you are. You stop saving your best self for someday and start being that person today. The Stoics didn't fear death. They used it as a tool for living. Every morning, Marcus would remind himself that he might not see evening, not to be pessimistic, but to make every action count. To speak with honesty, to love with fullness, to live with intention. You are dying right now. Every second that passes is gone forever. You can't save time. You can only spend it. And right now you're spending it on worry, on resentment, on distraction, on things you'll regret when you finally face the end. What if you lived like you believed it? Not recklessly, but authentically. Saying what needs to be said, doing what calls to you, loving without holding back, taking the risks that scare you, because the biggest risk is reaching the end having never truly lived. Your death is coming. That's not the tragedy. The tragedy is dying before you've actually lived. The tragedy is reaching the end with a list of, "I wish I had," instead of, "I'm glad I did." The tragedy is spending your unrepeatable life preparing for a future that never arrives. Stop living like you have forever. You don't. None of us do. And that fact, fully embraced, is the most liberating truth you'll ever face. Your declaration starts here. I live now, not someday. You've heard 10 truths today that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Not because they're complicated, but because they're uncomfortable. They require you to look honestly at how you've been living and admit that maybe, just maybe, you've been getting in your own way. The Stoics didn't write their philosophy for academic debate. They wrote it for survival, for sanity, for the moments when life strips away everything comfortable and asks who you really are. And what they discovered is this: you have far more control than you think, and far less than you want. But the control you do have is exactly where your power lives. You cannot control what happens, but you can control your response. You cannot control other people, but you can stop living for their approval. You cannot control whether you feel pain, but you can control whether that pain becomes misery. These lessons aren't easy. They're not supposed to be. Easy lessons create comfortable people. Hard lessons create unbreakable people. Right now, you're standing at a choice point. You can close this video and go back to the same patterns that brought you here. Or you can take one lesson, just one, and actually apply it. Not perfectly, not all at once, but genuinely. Your problems won't disappear because you watch this video, but they will transform when you transform how you see them. The obstacles remain, but you become someone who can handle obstacles. If these truths resonated with you, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment with the lesson that hit you hardest. Share this with someone who's ready to hear it. And subscribe, because this channel is for people who choose truth over comfort, growth over stagnation, living over merely existing. The ancient Stoics are gone, but their wisdom survived because it works. Not by making life easier, but by making you stronger than anything life can throw at you. Now go. Live like you mean it. Seal your commitment with these words. I am stronger than my circumstances.